Good morning. In this class of biology, cell, the basic unit of life, I am continuing the question answers that I have already started in the previous class. Okay, so we have done some of the questions like who discovered cell, how is it was discovered, and preparation of microscopic slide, and other questions like factors on which the size of the cell depend. So these questions we have done in the previous class. Now we'll continue the part of the question, that is the fifth one. Dikshit said, we can't see cells with unaided eye. Is the statement true or false? So you know very well that there are cells which are very small, that which we cannot see with our naked eye, and also certain cells which are very large, which can be seen with our eyes directly also. So they are human nerve cell is nearly about 90 to 100 centimeters. So that which we can see with our eyes directly, and the cell of the ostrich egg is about 17 into 18 centimeters. That is also of very large in size and which we can see easily. So we can say that there are certain cells which we can see with our eyes directly also. So Dikshit's statement is not completely true. It is false, isn't it? So not completely true in the sense that it is false, because there are certain cells which we can see with our eyes directly also. Is it clear, children? So note down this answer now. Okay, children, start writing. So now you write down this answer in your notebook neatly, children. So Dikshit said that we can't see the cells with unaided eye. Is the statement true? No, it is false. That you are writing in the first answer. Next, you are explaining the answer by saying that there are certain cells which can be seen with our naked eyes also. They are, example, human nerve cell and eggs of ostrich. First you write this, and afterwards you write the examples also as human nerve cell and egg of, or cells of eggs of ostrich. Note down, children, cell wall is essential in the plant cells because cell wall gives strength and rigidity to the plant. Strength and rigidity to the plants. And cell wall is hard and strong and tough. So it allows only the limited water and not being the cell to swell when it absorbs the water. Okay, so we can say that the cell wall being hard and tough, it does not make the cell to swell. Okay, it does not allow swelling of the cell. And cell wall helps for the plant to stand erect. It helps the plant to stand erect. Now done, children. The next question I'll proceed now. Make it fast. So note down, it does not allow excess swelling of the cell. So when the plant is watered, the cell gets the water inside. Due to it, the cell swells. So this cell wall does not allow the excess swelling of the cell, through which it affects the lifetime of the plant. Okay. That is the first answer. Next question is, read the next question, children. It is, cell wall is, nucleus controls the cell activity. What is the function of the nucleus? B. Nucleus controls the Cell activity. You know very well that nucleus is the integral part of the cell. Okay, yes, nucleus controls the cell activity. So nucleus contains the instructions for the protein products like DNA and so on, the deoxyribonucleic acid. So the proteins such as enzymes control all the works of the cell, that is in the cell. So though DNA codes for the other structural material, only protein has metabolic and behavioral control in the organism's cell itself. So the nucleus is the cell's controlling center, we can say. Okay children, now you write down, yes, nucleus is the integral part of the cell. It contains the instructions for protein products in the cells. See here children, nucleus controls the cell activity. Nucleus controls the cell activity in the sense that nucleus is a spherical body that is present in the center of the cell. It contains the DNA and RNA, that is deoxyribonucleic acid, and proteins also. It contains mainly DNA and proteins. Nucleolus contains the RNA and the nucleus contains the DNA, which is deoxyribonucleic acid, and the segments of the DNA called the genes, they act as hereditary vehicles, that is they transmit the characters from one generation to other generation. DNA, they contain the genes, the hereditary characters from the parent to offspring. They are transferred from parent to offspring. In such a manner, the nucleus is very important for the cell activity. Nucleus is a dense spherical structure located in the center of the cell, and it controls all the activities of the cell, that is it regulates the cell functions. So whatever it is, different functions of the different cells perform different functions, and the nucleus present in the cell carries out the genes or the characters from one generation to other generation, or passes the characters from one generation to other generation. That's what you have to write for this answer. So the given statement is correct. First one is, what did you learn in the first statement, that is the cell wall is essential for the plant cells. Yes, it is true, you have said, and it gives rigidity and strength to the plant cell, and it protects the cell from excess of swelling and also makes the plant to stand erect. Is it clear? Next, nucleus controls the cell activity. Yes, it is a round spherical body present in the center of the cell, and it has the characters like DNA and proteins synthesis takes place in the cell, that is DNA itself, in the nucleus. Nucleus contains the instructions for the protein synthesis in the DNA. Okay, so deoxyribonucleic acid. Next, they help to transfer the characters from parents to offspring and regulate the cell functions. So that is the answer for this question. Next question is, note down children, the next question that is asked over there is, unicellular organisms perform all the life processes like respiration, excretion and reproduction, growth and reproduction. Is the statement true? Yes, all the organisms, you know very well that amoeba, chlamydomonas, these are the unicellular organisms, bacteria. So all the life activities are performed by a single cell only in unicellular organisms. What are the life processes? Like ingestion, digestion, excretion, respiration, reproduction. These are the life processes. They are performed only by a single cell because they contain only a single cell in their body, and these single cell performs all the life processes in that unicellular organisms. So all living organisms perform some basic life processes like respiration, excretion, etc. to sustain their life and improve their race, that is regeneration. Unicellular organisms also perform all the life processes with the help of their single cell only. Can you write this answer children? Hope you do so. I'll explain the next question. That is, to observe the nucleus and organelles clearly, staining is not necessary. Is the statement true children? No. According to the preparation of the microscopic slide, you have seen in that staining helps to locate the cells easily, cell organelles easily, cells and cell organelles easily. So the staining is very much essential. So to observe the nucleus and the organelles clearly, staining is necessary. So where staining is a technique to bring about the attracted colors in the parts of the cell. This helps to highlight the particular areas in the cell. So note down this answer, children, now. Staining is necessary to bring out the different parts of the cell, to see the, observe the different parts of the cell clearly. Staining helps to locate the parts of the cells clearly and highlight the areas, particular areas in the cell also. Okay, next. The next question is, describe the structure of nucleus. How is nucleus, children? It is round spherical body, isn't it? Nucleus is the main and important organelle of the cell. It is dense structure and spherical in shape. It is enclosed with a membrane called nuclear membrane. Nucleus, it is a round spherical body in a cell. You can see a nucleus. It is surrounded by nuclear membrane. Okay. It is enclosed with the membrane. DNA and RNA are the nucleic acids which are present in the nucleus. Nucleus contains DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid, and ribonucleic acid. DNA helps for the transmission of the characters, that is from the parents to the offsprings. Inside the nucleus there is another round structure called nucleolus, which contain the chromatin material and fibers, chromatin material and RNA, that is required for the protein synthesis in the body. Next, ribonucleic acid, RNA, which means nucleus has that is semi-solid substance called nucleoplasm. So DNA and chromosomes are present in the nucleoplasm. DNA and chromosomes are present, which transmit the characters from one generation to another generation, which are present in nucleoplasm. And next, nucleus helps in the process of cell division and reproduction. Chromosome stores the genetic information. And who discovered the nucleus, children? Nucleus was discovered by Robert Brown in the year 1831 in an orchid leaf. Okay, so that's what you are going to write about the nucleus. Nucleus is discovered by Robert Brown in the year 1831. It is a spherical body. It is surrounded by a nuclear membrane. It contains nucleoplasm, nucleolus and nucleoplasm. Okay, children? And next, it contains DNA. Nucleoplasm contains DNA and chromatin material, and they help for the transmission of the characters from the parents to offspring. So this is the main point that you are going to write in the function and structure of the nucleus. If there is only the structure, you are going to write it is a round dense body, and it structure, in the structure you are going to explain about the nucleus and how it is. Okay, so nucleus is main important organelle of the cell. It is a dense spherical structure in shape, enclosed by the nuclear membrane. First point, spherical, you note down completely. Next, surrounded by nuclear membrane. Okay, children, note down. Nuclear membrane, surrounded by nuclear membrane. And what are the DNA and RNA or the nucleic acids that are present in the nucleus? DNA and RNA. What are these? These are the nucleic acids. Ribonucleic acid, and this is ribonucleic acid and deoxyribonucleic acid. These are the nucleic acids present in the nucleus. Note down clearly. First point is, who discovered nucleus? You write down. It was discovered by Robert Brown in 1831. Then you write what the shape of the nucleus. It is spherical in shape, and it is enclosed by a membrane called nuclear membrane. and it consists of DNA and RNA or the nucleic acids present inside in the nucleus, and there is another round structure in the nucleus called as nucleolus, which contains chromatin material and RNA, that is protein synthesis. Inside the nucleolus is also present inside the nucleus, another which contains the nuclear material, that is DNA, chromatin material is present inside the nucleus, that is in the nucleolus. And next, nucleoplasm is a semi-solid substance present in the nucleus, and DNA and chromosomes are present in it. So RNA and chromatin fibers are present in nucleolus. RNA and chromatin fibers are present in the nucleolus, and in nucleoplasm, which is a semi-solid substance, nucleoplasm, it is a semi-solid, it is in semi-solid structure present in the nucleus. Inside the nucleus there is a semi-solid structure called nucleoplasm, which contains DNA. Nucleolus contains RNA required for protein synthesis, and nucleoplasm contains DNA, which transmits the characters from one generation to other generation. And nucleus helps in the cell division and reproduction. It helps in cell division and reproduction, and it also helps in transmission of characters from one generation to other generation. Transmission of characters. If you write these points, it will be easier for you to explain the answer clearly. First, Robert Brown discovered the nucleus in 1831 in the orchid leaves, when he was experimenting with the orchid leaves, structure of the orchid leaves, when he was observing under the microscope. He has peeled out the leaf and observed under the microscope. And he saw that it is very spherical in shape, and it contained the nuclear membrane surrounding the nucleus, and inside the nucleus there are nucleolus and nucleoplasm. Inside the nucleus you can see the protein, the RNA, that is ribonucleic acid, required for the protein synthesis, and in the nucleoplasm it is a semi-solid structure which contains the DNA or the chromatin material, that are the fibers that transmit the characters from one generation to other generation, and the nucleus also helps in the cell division and reproduction. Okay children, the next question I'll move to. See here the onion peel cells. The onion peel cells are cylindrical in shape, and they are long and cylindrical. Long and cylindrical in shape, and you can see that there is a nucleus. So color is pale in color. Onion cells, when you observe under the microscope, the color is pale in color, and nucleus is clear. Sorry, it is nucleus. You cannot it is clear in the onion cells. Nucleus is clearly visible in the onion peel cells. But in case of the spinach cells, they are spherical in shape, and the nucleus is not clear, it is not visible clearly. So it is we can say that shape is oval or round, you can say, for the spinach, and color is green in color. Spinach cells, green color, and nucleus not clear. It is not clear in the spinach cells. You know that in the plant cells, the nucleus is located in the periphery. It is located at the periphery. Okay children? And this is about the difference between the onion peel cells and the spinach cell. Next question is about the questions that you pose to know about the diversity of the cells. What are the different questions that you are ready to ask? So to know about the diversity of the cells, you may ask, what are they, all the cells are equal in size or same in shape and size? Diversity means differences. Are they different cells are different in plant cell and animal cells? Do you find the nucleus in all the cells or not? Okay, and if you have any doubt about the cells, you can ask different questions like how do you observe the nucleus in the cells, and can you see the nucleus in all the cells, or is the cell membrane, cell wall present in all cells, either plant cell or animal cell, like that. Whatever the doubt you have to ask about or to pose about the cell, you can ask for this question. This type of questions can be answered easily. Next, if you want to know about the unicellular and multicellular organisms, what questions do you pose? You know, unicellular organisms are made up of only single cell, and multicellular organisms are made up of many cells or numerous cells. So this is a simple cell organization is seen in the unicellular organisms, and in the multicellular organisms, it is a complex cell organization is seen in these organisms of multicellular organisms. And if you see the life processes, that is the various life activities that are produced, that is continued in the in the organisms of unicellular, it is only a single cell performs all the life process in unicellular organisms, whereas in the multicellular organisms, each specific function is performed by a specific type of cells. So different cells perform different functions in the multicellular organisms. So this is the way that you have to that you know the answer about. But if you do not know anything about them, what do you ask? What are unicellular and multicellular organisms? Are they both one and the same? What is the difference between the unicellular and multicellular organisms? Or how the life activities are being prepared or produced in the unicellular and multicellular organisms? Can you give any example for the unicellular and multicellular organisms? Like that, you will be posing the questions about the unicellular and multicellular organisms. And next question, Amir said bigger onion has larger cells when compared to the cells of the smaller onions. So normally the size of the cell depends upon the, that is how, on what basis you have studied that the size of the cell depends upon. It depends upon the number of the cell but not the size of the cell. The size of the organism depends upon the number of the cell but not the size of the cell. Okay, so size of the organism, that is a bigger size, or what is the question now here that is posed? Bigger onion, that is size of the onion, has larger cells when compared to the cells of the smaller ones. So does the size, it depends upon the size of the cell? No, it depends upon the number of the cell. The size of the organisms depends upon the number of the cell but not the size of the cell. Okay, so here the size of the onion depends upon the number of the cells and not the size of the cell. Cells are of different size, shape and number. The shape of the cell is related to its function. For example, nerve cell, where it is present, it is present to in the nerve cell in both man and also elephant performs the same function. It is related to the function, that is to transfer the messages to the cell, that is to the cell body. Okay, so that is about the cell. Next question is, and the size of the organism depends upon the number of the cells but not the size of the cell. How do you appreciate the fact that a huge elephant and man and trees are made of cells? So all the organisms, even an elephant, an animal or a human being or a plant, are made of cells, which are very small and we can look at them through a microscope. So you know that the size of the cell in our living organisms may be as small as millionth of a meter to as large as a centimeters, isn't it? So normally the cells are not seen with the naked eye, that we have already answered in the question in this class itself, in the first question that I have explained you today. And the smallest cell, bacteria, ranges about 0.5 micrometers to 0.1 to 0.5 micrometers, and the largest cell of the ostrich eggs ranges from, that is the size of the cell, that it is as much as big as 17 into 18 centimeters we have studied. Is it clear? So the size of the cell is related to its function but not related to its number, that is it's related to the number of the cells but not the size of the cell. That you have to keep in mind. So The size of the cell is related to function. Nerve cell of both man and elephant are long and branched and perform the same function of transferring the messages, and thus the size of the organisms depend upon the number of the cells but not the size of the organism. As the elephant is bigger than the man, though it is bigger than the man, the nerve cell present in both the elephant and the human being performs the same function of transferring the messages only. So we can say that the size of the cell depends upon the number of the cell but not the size of the cell. Size of the cell depends upon the number of the cell but not the size of the cell. Once again I repeat children, size of the cell depend upon the number of the cell. So size of the organism, cell or size of the organism depends upon number of cells but not size of the cell. Okay, it depends upon the number of the cells but not size of the cell. That is the answer for this question. Deepak said, a plant can't stand erect without cell wall. Yes, you know the functions of the cell wall, isn't it? You write the answer. Plant cannot stand erect without cell wall because cells differ from those of animals in having a cell wall, isn't it? Plant cells. In the plant there is an extra layer called as a cell wall which gives rigidity and protection to the cell, isn't it? So this cell wall gives strength and rigidity to the cells, and it helps it doesn't allow the extra water, excess water to go into the cell and makes the plant to stand erect. That is the answer for this question. Hope you have understood this question answers clearly children. And the next question is, note down about the differences between the plant and animal cell. This is the structure of the plant cell. It has the outer cell wall and it also contains the cell membrane inside, but where you can find the cell wall mainly which protects the cell plant and it also gives rigidity to the plant cell. It helps to make the plant stand erect. Okay, and it contains the chloroplast which are necessary for the photosynthesis process. Green colored structures which contain the green pigment called chlorophyll inside the chloroplasts. These are the chloroplasts. Nucleus is present in the cell, at the periphery of the plant cell normally, and it contains nucleoplasm and so on. And next, this is the mitochondria which are the powerhouses of the cell. Okay children, so this is about the plant cell. Note down in your notebooks neatly children, structure of the plant cell. Now we'll do about the structure of the animal cell. In this Golgi complex, it is in the plant cell, it is called as a fluid membrane, that is fluid filled vesicles. Having this fluid filled vesicles in the plant cell, it is called as dictyosome. Okay, they secrete the packages and dispatches the cellular structures. Okay children, once again I repeat children, the structure of the cell, plant cell. It contains cell wall which gives rigidity to the plant, shape to the cell, and also it protects the plant to stand erect. And here you have seen the chloroplast, nucleus. Nucleus, you know very well about the nucleus in the cell, helps for the transmission of the characters, and it contains nucleic acids too. And next is the chloroplast. These are the coloring pigment which takes part in photosynthesis for the preparation of the food, and they contain the chloroplast contain the plastics which contain the coloring pigments, that is they are present in only the plant cells. That is chloroplast is a double membrane organelle. It is a double membrane organelle containing stoma and grana, where grana contains a green pigment called chlorophyll, and the grana, that is grana, which is helping in the photosynthesis process. The chromoplast and leucoplast are also present inside the plastics, which these plastics are present in the plant cells, which are called as chloroplast, chromoplast and leucoplast. Leucoplast are the cells which are colorless, and chromoplast that they are colored, and chloroplast are green colored structures. Okay, so these chloroplasts are called as the kitchen of the cell because they participate in the photosynthesis. Chloroplasts are called as the kitchen of the photosynthesis process takes place over there. Next, coming to the mitochondria. They are the powerhouses of the cell. It has the double membrane, outer membrane, and inner membrane folded to form cristae. So inner membrane is folded like this. It has a double membrane structure. It is the powerhouse of the cell. So this is the main for the structure of the mitochondria in the plant cell. And coming to the Golgi complex. These Golgi bodies are also present in the both plant and animal cells. So these are stacked structures or the membranes which contains fluid-filled vesicles which help in the secretion of the cellular structure. In the secretion of cellular structure, these Golgi bodies or the Golgi apparatus is helpful. Secretions of the cellular structure. Okay, this is about the Golgi complex. It helps in the secretions of the cellular structure. And next, coming to the food vacuole. Vacuole that is present in the plant cell. It is a fluid-filled membrane bound spaces. These are called as fluid-filled membrane bound spaces. These are the vacuoles, food vacuoles mainly. Okay, the vacuole is large and permanent outer membrane is called tonoplast and filled with the cell sap. Okay, and this is the cell is rigid and strong due to the vacuole, and it produces the turgidity and rigidity, maintains water balance in the cell. Maintains water balance in the cell due to the vacuole. It helps for the cell. So this is the structure of the plant cell. Okay, children? In the next class, I'll tell about the animal cell. Till then, thank you, children. Have a nice day. Write the questions that I have given you already in your notes and try to complete the CW for the next class. Okay? So because of the permission of the time, I am continuing the animal cell also, children. So we'll complete this so that the question answers part will be completed in today's class itself. So as you know very well that the animal cell is surrounded by only the cell membrane. It does not contain the cell wall. The cell wall protects the outer layer of the animals, that is the cell membrane protects the outer layer of the animal cell. Okay, and here the vacuoles are not permanent in animal cell, and it contains the cytoplasm, the fluid substance present inside the cell, that is the cytoplasm. And next, as you know very well that these are the powerhouses of the cell. These are the double-stranded membrane structures called mitochondria, and these are the cistae that is present inside. They are the powerhouses of the cell. And this is a nucleus, which is, we know very well, it is a round structure, dense body present, spherical body present in the center of the cell in the animal cell, and it transmits the characters from parents to offsprings, where it contains the nucleic acids like DNA and RNA, and it is surrounded by the membranous structures called as these are the endoplasmic reticulum, smooth endoplasmic reticulum and rough endoplasmic reticulum. And these are the vacuoles that are found in the animal cell or temporary vacuoles, and these are the ribosomes. Okay children, so note down this. Cell membrane gives shape to the cell, takes part in the exchange of the substances and provide the support to the cell. And inside the cell membrane, it contains the cytoplasm which encloses the nucleus. It is cytoplasm is within the cell membrane, and also is inside the cytoplasm there are nucleus and the cell organelles are present inside the cell membrane. Okay children, so this completes your question answers part, and be ready for the next lesson in the next class. Okay children, thank you. Have a nice day. Be safe, stay home safely.